Well, hello.
Hey there.
And we're
Good
back
morning.
with the
Good
Jack and
morning.
Rod Show.
Am I Rod?
Andy, I don't know which you're.
Who are those people?
You're both Jacks. It's from a different radio show I listened to. I don't know why it came to my head. Andrew got a haircut.
I did. I did too.
Do you both do that yourself, or is that a DIY or
That
DIY wife?
DIY wife. Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, over the last year, it's been DIY, but then this was the first time I've gone in over a year to an actual haircutting facility.
You did, huh?
I did, yeah.
I hate to tell you, there's no difference.
I know. Except for the $25 out of my pocket, yeah.
I turned DIY and a little bit of DIY. My wife has to do the back.
One of the funniest things that Eric, he's still out today taking care of his family and such, and
Taking care of his family and some business.
super busy, yeah.
Yep, he's extremely busy.
One of the funniest things he ever said was, this is a quote from him, "My barber sucks, and he's usually drunk, because my barber is me."
Yes, I remember that.
I like that one.
How he never came up with funny quips like that on air.
No.
Yeah, which is why we weren't in any hurry to invite him back today.
Maybe we should just have him jot down things like that, and we can keep reading them.
Andy has a bunch of. Maybe we include an Eric quote every week, but we don't actually have Eric.
Maybe he pops in like Karen.
If he has something funny to say,
and reads us something that he was been stewing up for the last week.
Andy writes down funny things people say
I do,
in
yeah.
a log. Yeah,
that's cool.
And it's hilarious to go back to. Like, you forget when you say it, or even when anybody says it. Because I remember that. I only remember that Eric quote because you wrote it down.
Uh-huh.
Let's bring Eric back every week just to read something funny he said in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that's plenty of Eric.
Okay.
I think even Eric would admit that's plenty of Eric. And you know what's really creepy is Eric is in the room where we're recording this right now with a tear rolling down his cheek.
Yep, I can see him. He looks upset.
Does he? I think he's doing his best to block us out right now. Well, so I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant again.
Oh.
I went out in public this week, and I typically don't go out in public.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was telling me how much they love our podcast. And I question how everybody's listening to this thing, but we still only have like 20 listens.
We get more than that.
25? 30?
At least.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell everybody, again, if you listen to us, then review, tell your friends, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe. I'm sick and tired of this.
We're like a good Wisconsin casserole. You got to take us over to the neighbors.
Yes.
You got to bring us into church.
That is a great analogy.
Dish us around.
I, for one, would like to thank our listeners.
This is why everybody loves Tim.
Yeah, you got to have someone.
You know, and I got to say, my aunt thanked me because she got to see a little more Tim last week.
Give another wink there, Tim.
Carla and Appleton.
All in good time.
All in good. He can't do it on demand.
Yeah. Don't force it.
So we're going to lead off with Andy's story of the week. Hanging on for his life, farmer survives 45 minutes in under barn manure pit.
Yeah.
This is a great story.
Yeah, I did not see the story. I went back home to see my parents this weekend, and they shared a few things with me. One, the snowmobile's off the roof.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yep. Number two, you asked about that pizza place.
Yes.
They're moving to a food truck model. So they're only doing, you go up to the window, you ring the bell, they get you pizza. You don't go in.
Did they replace the batteries?
That I don't know. I'll have to get an update on the doorbell batteries.
Well, I gave you one small task. One small task.
But so there's that. And then my dad shared this story, which he told it well, and I couldn't believe it. So this guy is from over by Osceola, and we've mentioned Osceola a few times.
We have.
Yeah. Yep. He operates a dairy farm. They milk 200 cows, and I think that's like an organic farm. He does a lot of work with that. And they have a freestall barn that they built a couple years ago after they had a barn fire.
Freestall. For those of us who have never been within 100 miles of a farm, it doesn't matter. I just thought you're kind of like a farm boy poser.
100%.
It's fine with that.
Yeah.
Just because I had a llama or two doesn't make me a farmer.
Right. So the barn had slatted floors and was built above a 2 million gallon manure pit. That's about 12 feet deep.
It's a lot of poop.
And on this particular day,
what the heck?
The farmer estimated that it was full to about 9 feet. So about 9 feet deep, full of manure. And he went out there to start the tractor that ran the pump to agitate the manure to kind of swirl it around and stuff.
It's like a KitchenAid mixer, but for
manure.
Yeah,
for
it kind of
poop?
sounds like that. And one of the things that he had was a wooden plank that ran behind the tractor. We could walk across the pit opening so you didn't have to walk around the front of the tractor.
OSHA had never seen this.
Oh, yep. He walked across that wooden plank and it snapped in half, and he
OSHA?
fell in. He fell into that.
Could you imagine that split second that board snaps and you are thinking, oh,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. So he plummeted into 9 feet of rolling waves of
man.
manure.
Oh, because it was
It
agitating
was
at
going.
the time?
Yep. Yep. It was agitating at a rate of 9,000 gallons a minute. Oh. He said it was a massive amount of force, and it threw him about 40 feet in under the barn. And he was
What
tumbling
the
through the manure,
heck?
thought he was going to drown. Yep. Couldn't get any air. Just flying around.
And this
in
is
it.
like
Oh
cold
my
manure, right?
goodness.
Yep.
They
and
said
it's
it's like
a swirling mass of
50-degree manure.
I
Yeah.
could not imagine what would be going through my head.
Yep.
Well, poop.
Plus the gas and everything from that as well. At least it was a little ventilated. But anyway, he was treading in there for 30 minutes.
How did he, what the heck?
So the story is that this has never happened. It was a miracle. The story has never happened before, but all of a sudden, the pump switched directions, and it started rotating the opposite way.
Is it supposed to do that?
No, he said it's never done that. So without someone physically getting in there and doing it. So he could, at that point, catch his breath, and he started yelling for help, but nobody heard him because the tractor was still running.
Oh, my goodness.
Agitating the manure. Yep. So he eventually got over to something that he could hold on to and just kept yelling and yelling for help until somebody heard him, and they thought, well, he's just yelling at the cows. Like
Yelling
farmers.
help? Like the cows were going to come
No,
help?
it, you just,
No,
you know,
I get it.
yeah.
I know what you mean.
And then there was one of the high school kid came and found him.
Worker.
So he'd been in there for at least 45 minutes, and they put a ladder down to try to.
Yeah.
He had to get from the thing he was holding on to the ladder. So then,
It's like a 40-foot swim across.
Well,
poop.
why would they
after
not
be-
call for somebody who could lend
well, after being in there for 45 minutes, then he had to swim. He had to say, "Okay, I'm going to let go of this thing, and I'm going to
Oh,
swim from
my
here
goodness.
over to this ladder." And they eventually got him out.
This is why I refuse to farm.
And in typical farmer fashion, he did not seek any medical treatment until Monday. This happened over a weekend.
I heard he didn't even change his clothes until that evening.
Yeah. It said the only battle scar he retained was a virus that he picked up from ingesting some of the manure.
Yeah. He's lucky that he's alive.
That is
Yeah.
insanity.
Isn't that an unbelievable story? And I can't believe I hadn't heard it somewhere else.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
This
What,
was
what,
in,
what was the news
wild.
source?
This was in the Dairy Star.
So like a little dairy newsletter type thing?
Yeah, out of Sauk Center, Minnesota.
Well, that's what I like to do is push out to all of our people, all of our readers, the bad news that happens in the dairy industry. This could happen to you. Do you ever remember Outdoor Life used to have that drawn out thing, this could happen to you,
Yep.
and it was like grizzly bears attacking you?
Exactly, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
The
was-
Dairy Star needs a this could happen to you segment where they draw out the farmer treading manure for 45 minutes. Wow.
So there's your story.
I will never farm. I won't. I just can't imagine the fear and just what's going through your head sitting there treading manure for 45 minutes while the agitator is on.
Yeah. Just like swirling
I mean,
around in that
you
slurry.
think you're gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
And what a way to go.
Yeah,
Ugh.
just how long can I hold on? Wow. Well, since we're talking about cows, there's a couple of cow-related accidents on highways in Wisconsin. Two separate ones where the cattle trucks flipped, and one of them I think the cows were stuck in it, and the other one I think the cows got out and were roaming.
Which one do you want to do first?
It doesn't matter.
There was one
to me, they're the same.
There was one in Brown County in the Green Bay area. 2 cattle trucks tipped in the Green Bay area, causing the cattle to roam around the streets on both sides of the Fox River.
That's a different type of cow tipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the traditional kind.
Yep, that was really early in the morning. And then it says in this story, 3 hours later at 4:50 a.m., a cattle truck tipped over in the village of Howard.
Yeah, it was
It's
weird.
the same area.
Yeah. That was multiple cows were trapped inside a cattle trailer after the driver overturned when his dog jumped into his lap, and then the vehicle tipped over. Happened on I-43.
Which is a pretty main highway.
Yeah. On the on-ramp.
How do those cattle, or maybe they do, not break their legs and stuff when this
Well,
happens?
some of them did. I think on the first one they said that 12 were killed or injured enough that they had to be put down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Weren't they heading that direction anyway, probably? Isn't that why they were
maybe.
in the
Yeah.
semi?
I'd assume they're still good.
Yeah, fear not.
Butcher.
This is just going to come a little premature.
Yep.
Well, since we're talking in the Green Bay area,
Mm-hmm.
I found this story, which I didn't even know they were building. Had you ever heard of those Titletown Flats, which was like apartments they're building that have like a Lambeau view in that whole Titletown area?
Yeah.
They look cool as hell. like a 1-bedroom studio is like $1,400 a month. But I could totally see, you know how all that Lambeau Field property got
Yeah.
gobbled up? So you've got some rich folk, you just lease this and it would be your pad for Packer
Yep,
games.
that's exactly what it's going to
Yeah,
be. Yep.
they say they offer 3-bedroom, 2-bath units rent for about $3,500 a month.
Yeah.
It's
So
not,
I'm wondering, though, do you think, does that clientele exist to fill this place up, I wonder? I guess they
We'll
must,
find
they know
out.
what they're doing. I'm
Yeah.
sure they didn't
Yeah.
just, but it does look awful cool in the pictures. I think it looks over the practice field,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
yeah. It's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that even if you're like a rookie year Packer,
I was gonna say maybe some of the young Packers. And
how
stuff,
convenient
Yeah.
would that be to just be like, oh, well, I'm gonna walk home.
yeah, and they could afford it.
Yeah, $3,500 for an apartment in Green Bay. I would think that's definitely a limited clientele.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to probably sign a year-long lease. So even if you wanted to just grab it for the Packer season, you got 3 months there of only 8 home games, and then you're sitting on that lease the rest of the year. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you got that kind of cold hard cash. There's a story of a family who donated $500,000 to the UW, and I think we have Barry Alvarez to blame. They wanted it to be spent on like a tennis facility, but they spent it on like the general athletic facility. Am I?
I think they wanted it to be spent on like scholarships.
Yeah,
or
that was the thing. I think they wanted that money to go toward tennis scholarships, and they spent it on a new facility.
Yeah.
A tennis facility or a general
I
facility?
think it was a tennis facility.
So what they're actually asking for their money back. That's this.
Can you
moral of the
do
story.
that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Apparently they want to get some new apartment in Green Bay.
They need the cash for a security deposit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder like how that works. Can you earmark an endowment, and if somebody doesn't do what you ask, can you say like?
And they donated it 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, how many scholarships exactly
Yeah.
have you given out?
None.
Yeah. So we'll have to keep track of this one. I'm kind of interested. to
I
see.
don't. I wonder if there'd even be follow up on that.
Coyle says the money was meant to enrich lives, not pour concrete. That's what it says.
Well, listen, if I give $500,000 to somebody with an expectation,
Yeah. Right. You can earmark donations, and I don't know. Maybe the paperwork was a little fuzzy, or I don't know. I don't know how.
Well,
how
just
they-
like any donation, I think that's why so many of those nonprofits, quote unquote, get in trouble. Like, their CEOs are making $2 million, and you're giving $10 at a crack, thinking it's going to feed the hungry, and then it's not. It's making concrete. If I give somebody $500,000 saying I wanted it to go towards scholarships, I would get a little testy over that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
Stratford has esports. Please take this one from me. I don't understand.
I don't get it either.
I feel like
Andy,
this is like I
please.
feel it's like Bitcoin.
Yeah, okay. So a couple years ago, my alma mater, my college, did it. Started a esports program, and I don't really.
What is your alma mater?
Concordia University in St. Paul,
Okay.
and they started an esports program. And if you go to their athletic site, they list football, volleyball, track and field, and they list esports as part of the athletic offerings, and they offer scholarships. And
Tell me what this is.
I don't get that.
It's you're part of a team that plays video games against other teams. It's video gaming. You're playing. Most of it is. I think that's the sport aspect. Is you're competing against another team.
You're playing
You're
Madden.
playing video game. They have specific video games that you play based on I don't know who sets the rules.
Are
or
they
whatever.
mainstream video games like Madden or NBA 2K or like?
I've heard of the games. I don't think they are sports games though. I think they're more like a Halo or a
World of Warcraft
something
stuff.
like that. Yeah.
Wait.
don't
So
understand.
now I didn't realize this is what that was. Then why are they calling it Stratford Esports?
It's electronic sports. You can compete by just sitting there.
Wow.
That's the definition of.
I think everybody under age 16 qualifies for this.
When I think sports,
Well,
I think like health and wellness.
Yeah, young people are excited about this. I think this is the stupidest thing.
Well, they shouldn't be calling it esports. They
No,
should be calling it
video
e-laziness.
game league or something.
Yeah. No, that's what they call it.
So
It shouldn't
Stratford
be called
High School
sports.
is doing this.
They're getting team.
I have no problem with kids that if their thing is getting together and playing video game stuff, that's fine. But don't call it a sport.
Yeah, listen, there's an 8-week season that we play. This is from the Stratford people. It's an 8-week season that we play. The varsity is one night a week, and JV is one night a week.
Well, this is what, as a coach, this should irritate you, Andrew.
Absolutely.
Do you know
100%.
why? Because I can see some kid who's an excellent athlete deciding, although it's one night a week, I get it, and it's probably not during the typical, like you could probably still run track and field and run this quote unquote esports. But if for some reason you can't, I would be pissed if I was a coach and I had some kid say like, I decided not to do the long jump this year because I'm going to participate in Halo online.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a thing. It's getting more popular too.
Can I poke a
not
button
my
with
thing.
you because this came up last week or would you rather I not?
Oh, I want you to. I want you to.
You want me to poke an Andrew
Yeah,
button?
I want to poke.
Well, so you want to poke Andrew?
Don't poke me.
Poke the
Pervert.
button.
How they screwed up. I almost said effed up. How they screwed up the spring sports this year by shifting those fall sports at small schools and then shifting the season later for both baseball and track.
Yep.
I had a very brief conversation with you, and based on the look on your face, I immediately stopped. But there's not a senior in the world who's going to be
No.
interested in running track and field in June and July.
Nope.
Did that happen to you?
Yep.
Did you lose your seniors?
I lost a lot of seniors, yeah. I mean, we still have some faithful, some loyalists, but yeah, they're going to be graduated for more than half the season, and they need to work
mentally
for college.
checked. They're mentally checked
What would you
out.
have done in their position?
I would have mentally checked
it
out.
would
I
have been
wouldn't have
very
gone
hard
out.
for me to come back.
Yeah.
to.
That's my point. I'm not blaming the kids. I'm
No,
blaming
no.
the WIAA.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So the whole deal was that when school started in the fall, there were a lot of schools in southern Wisconsin that said, we're not comfortable getting these kids together to do sports. You know, we don't want to do in-person school, and we don't want to do sports. We don't want to bring people together. So we're not going to do football and volleyball, and we're not going to do those. And the WIA said, well, you know what? We're gonna shorten up basketball and push spring sports back, and we're gonna give you another season. We're gonna stick another season in there. So right now, I think it's all done now. But a lot of schools in the southern half of the state just finished up their football and volleyball seasons.
Right.
Really?
Yep. And it was a joke because the schedules were limited, and a lot of them just did it in the fall like they should have. And so anyway, they did it so they could have more football.
So the moral of the story is they either should have done it in the fall or not done it.
right.
Because now they just
And then those schools in the south that were struggling to make that decision would have had to choose. You know, okay, do we try to stick in a football season, or do we let our kids just do baseball or whatever? Instead, they made everybody, the whole state, follow that guideline. And now, so yesterday is when softball and baseball and track and field and golf. Yesterday is when they officially started.
Weird.
And normally we start on March 8th,
Yeah.
so we're a whole month and a half late. And we
again,
go into the last week of June.
the difficulty, and I'm not blaming the kids at all, is that when I graduated, I was checked out 2 months before I graduated. You know, so it's like
Yeah.
there's no
The
way.
senior slide is real.
Yeah, and it's even worse for COVID. I will tell you that, and I think we've had this conversation on Mike before, is that because kids haven't really been in school for over a year, they were checked out a year ago. The seniors this year have been checked out for the entire year. They just don't care. At least that's my experience with one. So I can't generalize all of them.
I think in general, those spring sports, baseball, softball, girls soccer, track and field, golf, those are going to struggle because they didn't have a season at all last year.
Yeah.
And then this year it goes into June and July. Like, it's the perfect excuse to not do a spring sport and just stay home and do your esports.
Yeah, right. Let's just esport it. And I'm not going to say that this hasn't been a difficult and tumultuous and a time that
word.
none of us have understood. So I can't completely blame the WIA for not knowing what the heck to do with this, but it's an unfortunate deal for everybody. So I don't know. Since we're talking about students, did you see the Viterbo kid that got arrested for arson?
No, apparently there's a lot going on down in Viterbo that I don't know about. There's protests on. Tim, maybe you can
Really?
look this up. The protests going on. I think some of it is racially, about discrimination and things like that.
Is Viterbo? Where is Viterbo?
That's in La Crosse.
Lacrosse, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I looked up.
That's where
that story
Paul
was.
went, I think.
It is where Paul went. Now that you
There
said
was
that.
a young woman that left the stove on in one of the dorm kitchens, and then she said she had a change of heart, and she went back to turn it off, and there was some grease that was burning or some leftover food that was burning.
So she
tried to-
intentionally left the stove
Yeah,
on.
but then she had a change of heart, and she went over to clean up the food that was burning, but she used tissues, and then they started on fire, and she threw them in the garbage. So
It was a garbage fire, pretty much.
yeah, it was a garbage.
Well,
fire.
she had, like, a couple weeks prior, I read somewhere that she had, like, reported to campus security or police or somebody that she was seeing discrimination or being discriminated against in some way or something. And it said in the police report she admitted that she started the fire and said to investigators that, quote, no one was listening to me anymore. So it was kind of an act of.
She's trying to get some attention.
Yeah.
Well, at least she didn't shoot anyone because that's typically how people feel they need to get attention. And I'm not going down that path. But is Karen down here?
She is.
Oh, she is.
Has she been waiting?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
she's twiddling her fingers.
Well, why didn't somebody maybe tell me? Because we know how Karen gets. She gets a little Karen on her ass.
No.
Brews Brothers Pub in Weston, Wisconsin. I feel like we should have had Eric here for this one because it's in Weston.
What was in Weston? Oh, it's the FedEx guy that got all that.
This
Still
is
love
where the
that story.
FedEx guy likes to eat, actually.
okay.
Brews Brothers Pub, 4.7 stars
That's
out
good.
of over 1,000 reviews. 7 months ago, this happened.
Terrible experience. Went today on lunch. Had a burger with egg, fries. Woman was rude. She forgot the ranch. Worst burger I ever had. Fries were soaked in grease and mushy. Didn't even eat them. Burger was burnt so bad I couldn't eat it. I will tell everyone this place is terrible. Might as well take a $20 bill and rip it. Don't waste your money.
Ouch.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Karen. We continue to love you.
This person cannot spell the word fries, I'd noticed.
There was other
Fries.
typos I had to fix just so Karen could read it, just so you know.
Not a lot of punctuation involved.
No.
Some
No.
periods that were missing there.
So there's not a lot of dissection we need to do on this particular review, except have you noticed that the theme of a lot of our reviews are people upset over their condiments?
Yeah. No ranch.
My
Woman
ranch
was
was
rude.
missing.
She forgot the ranch.
My taco sauce came in. My tacos were cold, I believe was one we recently had, or sour cream or something.
And I just want to say, like, she forgot the ranch. You know, like that happens. Just ask for ranch then.
Yeah.
You know, like it's okay. Like, hey, can I get some ranch on the side
I
of
think
that?
she did, but it just didn't come fast
Yeah, I
enough for her
guess.
liking.
Might as well take a $20 bill and rip it.
Well, speaking of a $20 bill, I gave you $20 2 weeks ago, and $5 at the General is a new weekly thing.
Yeah, we're still rolling on the
Can
general.
you show me what you got?
I'll show you what I got.
Please
Hope it's
do.
edible. I'm kind of hungry today.
Some of it is
Oh,
edible.
my peeps! I had my peeps on my desk, and they're completely stale. They were perfect for today, and I was going to bring them down and eat them on air.
Well, we're trying to get ready. It doesn't look like it today. Right now it's snowing
Yeah, it's
here in
actually
North
It is
Wisconsin.
snowing
God dang
on
it.
April. What is today? 20th.
Today is the 20th, yeah.
Yeah.
But spring is just around the corner, so we're getting ready for outdoor picnic grilling season. First, we got some bamboo skewers.
Ooh, actually, very useful.
We can use these for fighting or anything like that.
Okay, poking
it.
somebody's eye out. Did you pay full price for those?
I did, yeah. There was.
No, that's fine. That's fine. They're marked $1,
Yep.
which
I got some tongs.
oh, those are the world's worst tongs.
Chrome tongs. Well, they were $1.
Those are those kind that when you squish stuff, like they don't actually have enough pressure to
Yeah.
even pick up what you
Yeah,
have.
they either smash your bra completely in half, or
Yeah.
you get it balanced to the point where it's halfway to the plate, it falls
Those
on
are
the ground.
those are horrible. Those are perfect for the
Okay.
$5 at the General
I got a whole bag, and this is a nice bag of
of cheese doodles.
cheese doodles.
What's a cheese doodle?
Oh, they're
It's
big.
a knockoff puffy Cheeto.
Yeah.
Oh, they're worse than you think. They don't even open.
You gotta bend them open.
You have to
and
bend them.
Oh boy.
Well, these were worth $1. Yeah, and then they don't. Yeah, I don't know what you're gonna pick
Look
up.
what like actual touches on it. It's like
Oh gosh. Good thing that wasn't open.
You went puffy cheese doodles. Are you a puffy versus crunchy?
I am for sure.
Really?
yeah.
A horse apiece.
Really,
I'm 100% crunch.
really.
Yep.
Well, crack those open, Tim. Let's
will.
get at them. I need some cheese doodles.
Yeah, I need to taste test one.
And so the total for this was $4.11. So
Okay.
I a little under. And the last thing to go with your cheese doodles is a
Is that a pickle in a bag?
pickle in a pouch,
Oh my god.
a dill pickle in a
That's my
In
favorite
a-
thing you've gotten yet.
it's like a Capri Sun pouch.
Is it kosher?
Does it come with a straw and
pop
you drink the juice
Pop the
first?
straw in, and
It is totally a
Yep.
Capri Sun pickle.
Is it kosher?
I don't know. Take a look at it.
I gotta say, these are massive cheese doodles.
Pass them over.
Is this the size they always are? And I missed.
I like that this is made in USA. Advertise contents. 1 pickle.
I feel like since we've had the pickle discussion before, and we were trying to
Should we
figure
get
out.
that? Should we try that?
I'm good.
I think we need to try it. Yeah.
I'm all right.
You're not trying it? It's a pickle.
What are we gonna pass around and bite the pickle? I mean,
This is no. We'll just cut it like a sausage.
I'll go get a cutting board.
So this is pickles from Waterloo, Wisconsin.
Oh, all right.
in today's episode of Pass
Can
the
you
Pickle,
Google Van Holten's?
Yeah.
VanHolten, Waterloo, Wisconsin.
Van
Actually, VanHoltenPickles.com. This is low calorie.
Wow, they got
low
all
carb.
sorts of different flavors.
And you don't get any because you said you didn't want to try it.
That's fine.
I'm gonna pull the pickle out of the pouch with the tongs. All right.
What are some of the flavors I have? These Cheetos really stick to your.
They've
Yeah,
got
they've
they've got the
got a
classic
lot of
dill
something
pickle.
in 'em.
They've got hot pickle, sour pickle.
You're gonna get pickle juice everywhere.
They've got kosher
Oh, well,
pickle.
you didn't bring me anything to put it in.
They've got tapatio pickle.
Are these all in bags or are these in jars?
These are all in a bag, in a pouch. They've got big.
So is that all they do is pickles in a pouch?
Yeah. They've got one called Big Papa. Not sure what that is.
I don't want to know.
They got one called
You
Hot
should
Mama.
never name a pickle Big Papa. It's an inappropriate pickle name.
They've got Sour Sis. That's bad too. Garlic Joe.
Yes. Sour Sis and
Hot Mama and Big Papa.
wow.
And Waterloo, huh?
Yep.
How many times have we mentioned Waterloo on this thing?
I like my cheese
No,
doodles.
no, I have
That's
the
a
pickle.
fat pickle.
I have the
Thank
pickle.
you.
This is a big pickle. I have the pickle. I used the tongs to pull it out of a bowl that I dumped the Capri Sun pouch into.
Which weren't washed and probably fondled by everyone that walked through Dollar General.
Can I touch the pickle with my hand to cut it?
Sure.
Okay.
It's better than
I'm
most.
slicing the pickle into sandwich dills, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I wonder how long. Is there an expiration date on that pickle? Can you look it over for me?
Yeah.
Here we go. It smells like a pickle. It looks like a pickle.
I don't. Oh yeah, here we go. We have until October 30th. We're fine.
Sure enough, it's a pickle.
Yeah, it's a standard cheap pickle.
It tastes like a lunchroom pickle.
Yeah,
Really?
it's exactly what it tastes like. Is like a
Like a cheeseburger pickle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a cheap,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
You're not gonna try it.
You said I couldn't.
Well, because you kind of like
Do it.
You put your nose up at it.
Oh, I
Like,
had
I'm
cheese
not-
doodles, which I'm really enjoying.
I should have used the tongs to hand you that pickle, but
Yep.
it tastes exactly like a cheap sandwich dill.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. I think Eric should come eat some of this pickle. Hey, Eric. Come eat some of this pickle.
We're inviting Eric over to eat pickle.
Eric,
Take a minute.
Eric, want a pickle? The pickles.
So, while Eric's eating a pickle, I found this story. Invasive jumping worms that violently thrash if handled, now in at least 15 U.S. states. But they started here. Like, this is one of the first places that Eric is sniffing the pickle. What, did you think we, like, laced yours with something?
It's really salty,
Really salty, is
Yeah,
what
it
he
is
said.
really salty.
not very dilly.
Not very dilly.
Very
I-
accurate. Yep.
It's a cheap lunchroom
Yeah,
pickle.
Yeah.
We need to try some of the other.
Have some cheese doodles.
We need to, tell us, will you give us a review of, let's bring Eric in
Food reviews.
for food reviews. Can you give him some mic space, Andrew?
Yeah.
Like, share, he can put his face next to yours?
Oh, those are disgusting.
The cheese doodles?
Oh.
No,
I
they're
don't think we're
fantastic.
picking him up on Mike. He said disgusting.
Those are nasty.
No.
No, the cheese doodles were good.
He's wrong.
Yep. So, there's his stint as a food critic. Done.
You need the
Short-lived.
pickle. You need the pickle to rinse the cheese doodle out of your
Yes,
mouth. In
yep,
my opinion,
yep.
you need
I
that
think
vinegar.
I think you had those in
Or a
the,
Jolly Good.
Reverse order.
You ate them in the wrong order. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna swig all of this down with some Jolly Good because I know that's good.
Well, tell me about these jumping worms. I did not read the story, and I know nothing about it.
So they're basically like a small little earthworm, not like nightcrawler size. At least if the photo is accurate. But who knows with the news story these days if the photo was the right story of the proper worm. But picture a smaller, like just a fishing worm, and they apparently literally like curl up and get like they act more like a snake.
Yeah, they go berserk. If you
Yeah,
touch
they
them.
act more like a snake when you catch them than a worm. And I swear, I dug up worms for one of the kids to go fishing last year, and I swear, like, all worms kind of do that, get a
Yeah,
little anxious.
yeah.
So then in my head, I was like, oh my God, is my lawn full of jumping worms?
Are you a super spreader of this invasive?
Yeah, I don't know.
And where did it start? They pinpointed it to starting in Wisconsin.
Well, we were
Midwest.
we were an early adopter. I don't know that we actually started it, but
Yeah.
it sounds like everything else that has come into this country, like somebody put them in some state, I want to say on the East Coast, because they introduce all this crap, like those.
And it says these were brought over mainly for fishing.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I'm watching a video of them.
Yeah.
They do go nuts.
Yeah.
also known as crazy worms, Alabama jumpers, or snake worms.
Do they?
Alabama jumpers.
Yeah.
No, they're listed as an invasive species. Do they do something
Yeah,
bad? Do
they eat the nutrients that trees and lawns and stuff like
I mean,
that
earthworms
require.
are invasive species. There's not a single native like nightcrawler earthworm.
I just wondered if these were worse than a typical worm.
That's true?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So no worm is. So are all
Earthworms
worms
are invasive. Yeah.
all of them?
Like nightcrawlers, earthworms. That form of slender worm. Yes.
Slender worm.
I just made that term up.
Oh, yeah, I thought that sounded very scientific to
It
me.
did, yeah. I was gonna believe him.
So speaking of science, there was a I don't know if I'm saying it right. Helicopter lifts off on Mars. I think it was more like a drone. And it has a Wisconsin tie.
Yeah.
The guy who made one of the microchips on that, I'm going to call it a drone. The news story called it a helicopter, but
It's like a 4-pound helicopter. So yeah, drone.
yeah. I guess because drone seems like the word. But the chip was made by a Wisconsin guy who I believe passed away. Right?
He did. So it was kind of an emotional and cool story for his surviving family to see
Yep.
that happen. All of his hard work.
Because they have the drone taking off on video from the
Yeah.
Mars rover deal,
Yeah.
so they caught it all, and the family was, which I think would be super cool too.
They put a little history up there with it too. They actually had attached a piece of the wing material from the original plane that the Wright brothers flew to.
Really?
Yeah. First flight on Earth or in America, and then first flight there.
So the Wright brothers get credit for Earth and Mars
They
now.
do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Since we're talking about Mars
And
Uh-oh.
flight.
and things flying, so we live in Three Lakes, Wisconsin, and one of our podcast fans, I ran into.
Of which we have many.
We have thousands of podcast fans, but they only give us a dozen listens.
They all get together and listen, I think.
Yeah.
She saw me this past weekend and she said, "I have a podcast story for you." Well, if I had a nickel for every time somebody told me they had a podcast story,
You'd have 15, 20 cents.
I'd have a nickel. So this is legit though. So there's a guy, I know this whole family in Sugar Camp, Wisconsin, and this whole family saw a UFO on their farm in 1961, and I had never heard this story.
This whole family are pretty much my neighbors.
Yeah, you
They're-
live right
they're
in this neighborhood.
Not even 2 miles down the road.
Yeah, this is an area of Sugar Camp I'm more than familiar with. So in 1961, there was a UFO story in both Eagle River and Sugar Camp. The Eagle River one, the Martians came down and they had a jug they needed water in, and they gave this guy a motion that they needed water in this jug, or at least that's what he filled it with, and in return they gave him alien pancakes.
A pancake.
Yep.
An
No, several.
extraterrestrial pancake. Yeah, pancakes.
Several.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 small pancakes. Yep.
Yep. And this man claimed that 3 5-foot men or occupants of the space machine came down and gave him 3 pancakes. So it's either 3 aliens or 5-foot men. It could have been any one of my family members from back in 1961.
The Dobbins,
The Rhodey clan.
the Robies
We are not a
came
tall
in.
family.
Yeah. And handed out pancakes, burnt pancakes.
Probably.
They were burnt alien pancakes. There's a picture of the guy holding one that Andy found, and it's like a wholly burnt alien
Yeah.
pancake.
And they actually, they had it sent in for analysis, didn't they?
And
tried
they
to
never
send
got it
somewhere.
back.
Yeah.
There's a 60-some page report on the interweb about these 2 sightings. If you Google Eagle River UFO sighting 1961, should get you there.
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. Air Force did a formal investigation on this whole thing.
Yeah.
They took it seriously.
There was a bunch of weird things that happened around the same time too. A bunch of chickens died, and then there was some planes crashed after reports of seeing fireballs or something.
And then that family in Sugar Camp said what was like a 17-year-old kid on that family said he saw it when he was outside. So that the
And
Sugar
he-
Camp one was more of a corroborating
It
story.
was. He went and got
Yeah.
his whole family. They all came out and looked, and they said it was a flying saucer 30, 40 feet across, 15 feet tall, disc-shaped, that was flying around for 2 to 3 minutes.
And this family in Sugar Camp is still there. When I was a kid in grade school, speaking of dairy farms, my only encounter on a dairy farm is we went and toured the Lorbetsky farm, which is where they saw this UFO.
Yeah.
They had, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 head of cattle, and I don't know what the stall arrangement was. But we toured this dairy farm because it was only 10 miles from the school.
Yeah.
And had the farmer told us he saw a UFO 30 years prior, that would have been of more interest to me. Maybe, and in fact,
Yeah,
when
all
I
right.
was in grade school, it would have only been 15 years
Hold the
prior.
heifer talk here. Tell me about these aliens.
Yeah.
I say that. So he saw that in 61. I probably toured that farm in like 81. So it was 20 years fresh. I wanted to hear that story. We have to get a hold of one of the Lorbetskis because 4 or 5 of them saw it, and most of them that I know of are still alive. We
Yeah,
got to
the
get
ones
this.
mentioned in this.
We got to get this story firsthand.
Yeah.
And how come old time sugar campers aren't telling this story around the bar
Yeah.
every night?
I don't know, because I had never heard of it, and like
neither.
my family goes back in sugar camps as some of the original settlers.
Yeah.
I've never heard this.
And sugar camp is not known to not talk about stuff like this.
Right.
This is gossip that is perpetuous.
Yeah.
40-year-old gossip that should still be in the newspaper. No, it's a 60-year-old.
I know
gossip.
a few people that I see fairly regularly that I feel like would know something about this, and I look forward to asking them.
I thought that was craziness when I saw that story, and
I think it's awesome, and I'm going to start keeping my eyes to the sky.
eyes to the skies. Well, that's all I got. Other than I wanted to mention an event. If you're bored this weekend, you can go to Mutt's Gone Nuts, the Canine Cabaret. Where is this located, Andrew?
That was a great delivery,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, this is at the South Milwaukee Performing Arts Center.
Yeah,
Yeah, canines and comedy collide.
I bet it's funny.
Yep.
What day is this?
Oh gosh. Well, this comedy act here, they've worked in at the Dolly Parton's theaters in Branson and Orlando and Myrtle Beach, and they're coming up to Milwaukee.
Oh,
This
it's a traveling dog show.
yeah, I think it's like a tour, like a concert tour.
I thought it was like local dogs that had skills.
I don't think so.
like
No.
like America's Got Talents for
That
Canines
had
type
skills.
thing. Yeah.
No, and this is April 29th. You still got a little time to plan.
Well, get your tickets now because I hear this sells out early and there's probably limited seating because they're keeping some seats open for the vid. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of the vid, I got my shot last week and I had 0.0 side effects.
Well,
good.
that's not fair.
No, it's not because Andy did not have that same experience. Poor little guy.
No.
We thought that Andy was gonna be knocked out. We'd never see him again. But
One last question about this Mutt's Gone Nuts. It says it says the dogs are sure to steal your heart and then your socks. What does that mean? They're gonna rip them right off your feet?
That's the type of comedy you can expect to hear when you go to the show. It's going to be jokes like that.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
All right.
Do you have
That was just it. That
Yeah.
was it. I was just kind of curious.
like dogs steal socks, I guess. That's the thing?
Yeah,
You carry them
actually-
around when they're not on your feet.
Yeah,
but
my dog does. He grabs the socks and runs around.
There's
Plays a
9
game
dogs.
with them. K9.
Huh.
Ah,
Good one.
yeah.
Good one.
Well, thanks again.
Yeah.
Review, love us, show us off to your neighbors.
That's right.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.